Gina, actor Johnny Depp, the latest celebrity to threaten the president. He was talking to a crowd in England at Glastonbury. Depp suggested assassinating President Trump. This comes after Robert De Niro said that he'd like to punch the president in the face. Madonna said she thought about blowing up the White House. Again, the Kathy Griffin, the beheading, that she somehow made herself the victim in all of that. The president's son, Eric Trump, responding to the threats from Tinseltown. Watch this.
There are no borders for these people. And you see Johnny Depp and what he said, I'd like to go assassinate, the president. It's like Johnny Depp has his own problems. He has his own problems. Yeah. Like, how about you go back to making movies and doing your own thing? I mean, this is a man who gave up his life to try and help this country. And he's doing a great job. And honestly, I couldn't be more proud of him.
Gina, do you believe that these celebrities are actually inciting violence, or they clearly are doing it? These are celebrities whose stars are fading or no longer exist, and they're purely doing it for attention. But do you think that they are actually inciting violence as well?
Absolutely. And Dagan, you make such an incredibly important point. The minute that somebody in Hollywood needs more attention or more money, they decide to say something like this. And there really is no reprisal for this. Whatever happened to Madonna? Absolutely nothing. But you know what it does? I mean, could you feel more compassion for this son of the president? I was surprised he held himself together making that statement, Eric Trump. And I tell you, the more I see of this first family, the more I feel just honored that they're sitting there in the White House, that they are willing to expose their family to this. They didn't need this, just like Eric Trump pointed out, and yet they have really given up their time and their security, their own personal security, and that of their own children and grandchildren, just to serve our country. And I think that is one of the reasons that America wanted to see this president in place. And I thought that Eric Trump's words couldn't have been more poignant and more heartfelt.
Yeah, they run their mouths, but all that money that they throw at these Democratic candidates, look at John Ossoff, that got him, well, not elected. That got him nowhere. 9-1 California donations to in-state Georgia donations in that election that he lost to Karen Handel. I do want to move on to health care, because speaking of words, former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton tweeted this on the GOP's bill. This was late Friday. Quote, "Forget death panels. If Republicans pass this bill, they're the death party." What do you make of that?
You just really want to put Hillary down for a long winter's nap or something. I don't know. She really needs to stop injecting herself, because I really think that she looks like she's making a desperate death gasp every single time she opens her mouth. And it's been that way since the whole campaign, and that's how she lost, and that's why she was such a horrible candidate. And that's why the Democrats are at all-time lows in their fundraising, and that's why Republicans are at all-time highs in their fundraising, and that's why the Democrats continue to lose, that they are 0 for 4 in these special elections, or 0 for 5, however you'd like to look at it. And as long as Hillary continues to be so dramatic, sky's falling all the time, right? The more the Democrats are going to continue to lose, because they have no leadership, they have no vision, and they have no ideals other than to try to bring our president down. The American people don't want this.
I mean, this isn't just ridiculous language. This is dangerous language. I mean, to reshape the Republican Party as the death party in the wake of the shooting, where we have Scalise still in the hospital, we're talking about saying this is so far beyond just trying to reframe a party or trying to use language in a clever way to try and, shift perceptions. This is actually going to the heart of the issue that we have right now, which is that people, you're not just against something. If you're on the other side, you are evil. You're not just, not providing care. You're going to kill people. This is unbelievably irresponsible from leadership. She's taken the anti-message that she had in the campaign to a whole new level here. And I think that at a certain point, the American people have to say enough is enough. We can disagree respectfully, but to go this far, I think, is too far. Yes. And she's got to take accountability for this. So what do you think is going to be the way that we could go forward without this kind of really inflammatory language where we're on such diametrically opposed sides?
You're so right about this. This is the dehumanization that the left is using. This is precisely what led to the shooting at the congressional baseball game, and they need to be held accountable for it. I believe the American people are watching this very closely, and I believe that until they sort of take responsibility for this death, violence environment that they've created, the American people will continue to hold them accountable because they see it clearly.
Here's a former politician who's gasping for relevance, but also inciting violence in the same stroke by using that kind of language. But Gina, you hear it from all of the Democratic leadership about how Republicans don't care about people's health, that they want to hurt people. They want people to. You hear even language about people dying from cancer, and there's going to be more of the same if this health care bill. If the Republicans in the Senate can pass it, that they've got to counter this message because it's not going to end.
That's right, because the message that the Republicans need to seek with the American people is that real compassion comes in giving people bootstraps, right? In telling people you can pull yourself out of where you are and that you can save your money in health savings accounts, for example, and be responsible for your own health care. The government doesn't need to be your daddy because that's what we spent the last 8 years learning to reject. And that is what the American people went to the ballot box to reject over and over again, and I believe that ultimately the American people do. We love personal responsibility, right? We love, owning our own lives, and that is what is quintessentially American. And I think ultimately that's what will come out with our health care. I think that we will never settle for socialized medicine that the left has tried to impose on us, and I think that's why they're continually losing.
But we're in a situation now, Gina, where you are giving the government and bureaucrats and lawmakers more power over your health care. And until people wake up and realize that again, it could come too late. Dr. Gina Loudon, it was good to see you.
Good to see you, Dagan.
Take
Thanks.
care, Gina.